Council is talking about some ways to keep kids safe when they're out of school, too. This video from Halloween shows the chaos in Navy Yard that led to a temporary citywide youth curfew over the weekend.
And just 3 hours ago, the D.C. Council approved emergency legislation to extend the curfew for 90 days. This is that 11 p.m. curfew for those 17 and younger. It also allows D.C. police to continue with the special zones. That's where kids and teens are not allowed to gather after 8 p.m.
Rafael Sanchez Cruz has been following this for us. Rafa is live at the Wilson building, and this issue really seems to be far from being resolved at this point.
Yeah, that's right, Les, Lorenzo. And they're talking about multiple legislations, multiple bills that they're considering at the same time. Today, they also approved temporary legislation. So not the emergency bill that you just talked about. The emergency legislation would extend this curfew for 225 days, but it does require a second vote and congressional approval. I can tell you, as this conversation moves forward, now council members are looking for long-term goals and solutions, not just these short-term band-aids.
Should the district implement a stricter youth curfew? It seems like a simple question, but opinions among the D.C. Council are varied. Ward 2 Council member Brooke Pinto supports a permanent change.
Once we're getting to dispersal, like we saw this last weekend in Navy Yard, it's oftentimes too late, and we need to protect our young people and our entire city.
On the other end, at-large council member Robert White is a hard no on the proposals that are on the table. He had this to say to neighbors dealing with teen takeovers.
They do deserve real solutions. There are large groups of young people, and many of them are causing problems. But to set an 8 p.m. curfew for issues happening at 6 and 7 p.m. doesn't at all resolve the issue. Let's be serious about resolving the issues.
Ward 5 council member Zachary Parker supports short-term action while urging long-term solutions.
It serves as an immediate tool while we should be thinking about more long-term solutions. My concern is I have yet to hear those solutions.
A similar stance from at-large council member Christina Henderson. She says the region is pushing young people out.
A lot of these private entities are essentially locking young people out of their spaces. So what's the plan? They need some place to go, and for some of them, home is not the safest place.
Yeah, Council member Janice Lewis George also expressed concern about what enforcing the curfew means as we're dealing with the effects of the federal surge. And look, just yesterday, Mayor Murrell Bowser introduced permanent legislation to make these changes permanent here in D.C. D.C. residents and officials will be able to provide insight on a hearing that was scheduled on December 4th. Live outside the Wilson building, I'm Rafael Sanchez Cruz. Back to you.
Rafa, you've been covering this for a while. We've been talking about this. We keep hearing the lawmakers say we're waiting for solutions. But shouldn't some of those solutions be coming from them?
I will say this, Leslie, and this is part of the conversation where it's heading. They're waiting for the executive, for the mayor's office to kind of provide these programs to see where they want to use the funds. They're saying, look, we approve the money, so now tell us how you plan to use it. Is it opening up rec centers for extended period? Is it hosting concerts? Is it hosting large-scale events where kids can have the opportunity to hang out, to congregate? And they're also saying it's not just during the summer months. We're seeing that kids are urging and calling on wanting spaces as they're closing malls and other public areas for kids in our entire region. Back to you.
Yeah, we know the mayor's administration usually vets some of those programs as well to make sure the money is being put to good use and it is effective as well.
I wonder if they actually talk to young people. Like someone should actually talk to these young people and ask them what they want to do. What would make this better as they're widening the aperture of the voices involved in finding solutions? It would be great to include them in the process too. All right, Rafa, thank you.